Hi, I'm Priyanka Sambhav. You're watching Learn with RG. We are at Edelweiss office. I have a very special guest, Edelweiss AMC's MD and CEO, Radhika Gupta. Radhika, thank you so much for taking out time for, giving us some good money lessons. And I think you are, sort of, a lot of youngsters look up to you. So when you were 22-year-old, I want to know what were you doing at that time? And what would you tell a 22-year-old who's watching you right now?
Okay, so when I was 22, firstly, I'm not young anymore, but when I was 22, I had just finished my college and I had started earning. Um, and I mean, there are lots of things I could say on this, but एक जो हम गलती करते हैं, when we are young, is I remember being 22 and just jumping head deep into work. नई नई नौकरी मिली थी, you're so excited about what you're doing, and you started to earn, but you just forget you have to do something with your money. So, time passes, you're busy in your job and your projects and you're trying to prove yourself. और पैसे को छोड़ देते हो and suddenly you realize that money started accumulating in your bank account. And it took me almost 2 years to realize, wait, and by the way, I was a finance professional. And then I have to do something with this. And so one of my advices to young people is don't make that delay. Start a little bit earlier, because what happens is I feel that when you start late, outside of the whole compounding ka benefit and all of that we've heard, and giving your money compounding time, you make a rush decision. Your friends are like, "अच्छा, मैंने तो invest किया था, मेरा portfolio इतना बन गया, तेरे का क्या?" And you start, taking bad decisions in a rush. So I think start early. Don't leave this part of your life in the rush to work hard. I mean, you must work hard. That's super important, but take out the time for this.
So why I chose 22 year, because as I know that you started working in 22, but I'm so surprised that you started working and you have a financial background and you did not start investing.
But it's true of many people with a finance background, because you're so neck deep in work. Priyanka, you've got a new job, you're working these intense hours. I mean, I see young people on my floor also, and you just forget it. And
Okay.
you can be a finance professional, but all that finance is applied to your workplace.
Okay, so after 2 years की देरी के बाद जब आपने शुरू किया, what did you do?
I didn't do something very wise. So I had heard from someone that if you are young, you invest all your money in equity. Okay? So I said, chalo, aisa hi kar dete hain. And I invested all my money in equity. Mix of, I was living in the US at that time, US, emerging market, everything I invested in equity. Now, funny enough, this was 2007, 6 or 7. So 6 it was. 6 was great, 7 was great. And then you can guess what happened in
Yeah,
8.
then came
It was
8.
a disaster. And then in 2009, we decided to move back to India because we wanted to start a business. And in March, we had to redeem everything when markets had not bounced back. So it was a really bad idea. And I mean, I had a few learnings from this, but one learning was don't follow these rules of 100 minus age and all. There are no rules, right? Because people have different realities, different circumstances. I've seen so many people now. There are young people who have liabilities of homes, parents, family, etc., etc. And then, by the way, there are older people like my father who are chilling at 70 and who have a fully paid up home, kids settled. He's 100% equity there now, and I am 50% equity. So, ये age का link with money is actually a very, very fragile
So
one.
ये 100% equity may not work for everyone.
It does not. And I think the other thing is that everyone needs a contingency fund, because you never know when life changes. What if you want to quit your job and start a business? You don't want to do what I did, which is take money out of the market when things are weak.
Loss पर.
लॉस पर वो बहुत विजडम नहीं है इस काम में. तो थोड़ा कंटिजेंसी मनी डेट में या किसी सेफ इंस्ट्रूमेंट में रखना चाहिए. What if you have a medical expense? What if a family member has it? What if you find the need to buy a house? Some contingency money everybody needs, I feel.
Okay, so there are these various rules. अभी आपने कहा 100 minus your age, उतना आप इक्विटी में
Yeah.
रखो, उतना डेट में रखो, और ऐसे भी और भी कई रूल्स हैं. थंब रूल ऑफ मनी कि भाई 50-30-20, कोई कहता है 20-60-30. ये जो रूल्स बने हुए हैं, ये थंब रूल बहुत ही बड़े बड़े लोगों ने बनाए हुए हैं, उन पर आपका क्या टेक है?
I'll tell you a thumb rule in a non-money context. So someone told me if you want to be because I've just had kids, if you want to be a successful career woman, you have to have kids before you're 25. Okay, because you're going to have these kids, and then they're going to grow up, and by the time you're 40 and you're serious into your career, you know those kids would have grown up, and you can give those years. What if you can't have kids by 25? What if you don't get married by 25? What if you want to run a business like I did in your 30s and you don't have the resources or the time? There are no thumb rules in life. You know, thumb rules are ones that are right for you at that point in time. And these thumb rules create a lot of stress in us. Oh, I'm not married by this age. I have not started investing by this age. I am not 100% equity when she is. Nobody lives life by thumb rules.
So, if not 100% equity, which you're so averse to, what is it that one should follow? And also, will it also depend upon the kind of career you're in?
I think it does. Because if I go back to my own example when I was young, see, I'm in a very high risk career. People, I don't know if they realize that. Because my profession is capital markets. The market ऊपर जाता है, so my funds do well. The AUM goes up, the fees go up, everything does well. Right? Bonuses go up, everything is good. Market नीचे जाता है तो उल्टा होता है. Incidentally, I'm also married to someone in the same industry. So if my husband was a doctor, I would have had very different answers for you. So I think, you know, personal finance has a very strong personal component. And these things have to be factored in. How risky is your career? Do you have responsibilities of your parents? Do you have a working spouse? Do you have to, all these things?
So, all your liability,
All
the
your
kind of
liabilities.
work you do, the kind of family you plan to
The kind of family you plan to have, also what makes you comfortable. You know, finally, this is a very non-technical answer, but जो asset allocation होता है ना, वो ऐसा होना चाहिए जिसमें आपकी रातों की नींद खराब ना हो. It should not make you feel stressed in a bad time. So when markets are bad, money should not be a cause of agony. Then you know you have allocated correctly.
So, a youngster who's just starting out, what would be your advice? What kind of, I know we just said कि one rule can't be for all,
Yeah.
you know, one size does not fit all. But एक मोटा मोटी अगर एक 22-year-old जो पहली बार कमाने वाला है, शायद उसके दिमाग में होगा कि आईफोन लेना है, उसके दिमाग में होगा वो लुई विटॉन का बैग जो राधिका ने खरीदा था, बैगवती, वैसा कुछ बैग लेना है, तो आप उनको क्या सलाह देती हैं?
मैं उनको कहूँगी कि आप एक जो आपकी इनकम है जितनी भी है डजेंट मैटर पोस्ट टैक्स आप उसका एक टारगेट बनाइए कि मैं इतना सेव और इन्वेस्ट करूँ. नाउ दैट टारगेट कुड बी 5%, इट कुड बी 10%, कुड बी 20%, 30%. इट इज़ ऑल अ बैलेंस बिटवीन कितना आईफोन लेना है और कितनी SIP करनी है. दैट इज़ अ बैलेंस यू विल हैव टू फाइंड. बट आई एम सेइंग स्टार्ट विद 5, 10, 15%. The good thing about SIP is that it gives a sense of discipline because it auto happens every month. And I almost tell young people to think of your monthly SIP like at your tax. You have to pay tax. Even if you want to buy an iPhone, you have to pay tax, Priyanka. You can't avoid it. So just start the SIP and get it auto debited and then do your expenses after that. You do an SIP into an equity fund. You do an SIP into a balanced fund, into one of these funds. Gradually learn and then you can tweak your portfolio.
So, are you from that school that thinks that आपने खुद तो खरीदा था लुई विटॉन का बैग, पर जो यंगस्टर कोई आता है तो कहते हैं देखो ये सारी चीज़ें ना तब करना जब आप इस लेवल पर आ जाओ, अभी शुरुआत में मत करो, 22 ईयर में मत करो.
So look, I know my job is to sell SIPs for a living, but I'll tell you, life I believe is lived in a little bit of a balance mode. You know, if all you're doing is investing, investing, and investing, it's a little boring and you don't enjoy the fruits of the hard work that you're doing. If all you're doing is spending, 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 then you have nothing left for the future. And I really believe one should enjoy your money. So if you are a young person, you should have some small things, whatever they are, short term things that give you happiness so that you continue to invest. And you should have some long term financial goals and things that you want to buy or a business that you want to start. I was very lucky that I was able to save up money so that I could start a business at 24. I mean, that's one of the greatest things money enabled me to do without asking my father or husband or father in law for money or help. So, you should have those long term things and you should enjoy the short term. There's a word we use here at Edelweiss. It's called bifocal vision. I think investment also has to be like that. कि एक आँख आपकी लंबे समय पे होनी चाहिए जहाँ आप इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं, लंबे फ्यूचर के लिए प्लान कर रहे हैं, और एक आँख आपकी करंट भी देखती है, वेर यू आर डूइंग थिंग्स दैट मेक योर करंट डे टू डे बेटर, बिकॉज इफ यू डोंट डू दिस यू विल नॉट सर्वाइव फॉर दैट. If you don't do that, then it will be very painful also.
तो एक अच्छा इन्वेस्टमेंट पोर्टफोलियो एक यंगस्टर्स के लिए आपने कुछ अभी हमें आइडियाज़ दिए, पर आप कैसे कहेंगे कि उसमें, क्योंकि आप जब यंग हैं और बहुत लंबे समय के लिए निवेश कर रहे हैं, देन यू कुड टेक रिस्क ऑल्सो.
Yes.
सो व्हाट काइंड ऑफ प्रोडक्ट शुड बी देयर इन योर पोर्टफोलियो? कैन दे गो फॉर अ बिट ऑफ some complex product, or you'll say start with simple?
So I think, as I said, मैंने घाट घाट का पानी पिया है as far as investing is concerned. Because I've worked abroad so much. I mean, most people may know that I started my career trading something called mortgages. इससे ज़्यादा complicated चीज़ कोई हो नहीं सकती. I really think the basics work very well for everyone. अब म्यूचुअल फंड में आजकल ऑप्शन बहुत हो गए हैं प्रियंका. तो आप एक इक्विटी फंड भी ले सकते हो, लेकिन एक ऐसा फंड भी ले सकते हो जिसमें थोड़ी इक्विटी है, थोड़ा डेट है, जिसे बैलेंस्ड फंड कहते हैं, जो थोड़ा कंजर्वेटिव है. आप म्यूचुअल फंड के ज़रिए टेक कंपनीज में भी इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हो, बाहर की टेक कंपनीज में भी इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हो. तो यही साधारण दाल चावल जो है, उसी में आपको बहुत वैरायटी मिल जाती है और उसी से आपका काम हो जाता है.
तो इक्विटी रखे, डाइवर्सिफिकेशन कैसा होना चाहिए कि यंगस्टर के पोर्टफोलियो में इक्विटी, डेट एंड जो दूसरे एसेट्स होते हैं वो भी लेना चाहिए, क्योंकि गोल्ड अब केवल वही नहीं कि आपको जाके ठोस सॉलिड गोल्ड, फिजिकल गोल्ड ही खरीदना है. देयर सो मेनी फॉर्म्स दैट गोल्ड इज आल्सो अवेलेबल.
तो ज़रूर थोड़ा थोड़ा डाइवर्सिफिकेशन होना चाहिए. इक्विटी होना चाहिए, डेट होना चाहिए. इक्विटी और डेट आप साथ टैक्स एफिशिएंसी के साथ हाइब्रिड फंड में भी कर सकते हैं, जिसमें इक्विटी और डेट का मिश्रण हो. गोल्ड में मानती हूँ हो सकता है, लेकिन कम क्रिटिकल है. 5-10% गोल्ड हो सकता है, वो आप गोल्ड फंड के ज़रिए ले सकते हैं, गोल्ड या सिल्वर फंड के ज़रिए ले सकते हैं, ऐसे प्रोडक्ट्स के ज़रिए ले सकते हैं. अगर आपकी इक्विटी की थोड़ी समझ बढ़ जाए, यू कैन ऑल्सो थिंक ऑफ इंटरनेशनल इक्विटी एक्सपोजर, क्योंकि इंडिया अकेला मार्केट नहीं है जो अच्छा कर रहा है. आमतौर से हमें बाहर की टेक कंपनीज के प्रोडक्ट्स तो बहुत समझ आते हैं, तो उनके निवेश वी कैन ऑल्सो इन्वेस्ट इन देम, बट दिस इज आफ्टर यू डन योर बेसिक इक्विटी एंड डेट.
ओके, सो बेसिक इक्विटी से आप शुरुआत कीजिए और उसके बाद आप आगे बढ़िए. राधिका, आई रियली वांट कि आप बताएं कुछ यंग गर्ल्स को. आई एम ऑल्सो सराउंडेड विद सो मेनी यंगस्टर्स, एंड आई एम सो सरप्राइज्ड. उनको जब भी पैसों की बात करो ना, तो कहते हैं ये समझ में नहीं आता है. आपको नहीं लगता कि अभी भी हम इतने आगे आ गए हैं? पीपल लाइक यू आर देयर इन द फोर फ्रंट ऑफ फाइनेंशियल इंडस्ट्रीज एंड सो मेनी अदर वुमेन, बट स्टिल यंग गर्ल्स are still, like, हमें समझ में नहीं आता. My dad is doing, or my husband is doing. Don't you think so?
So, forget me. I mean, women in this country have sent a satellite to the South Pole of the moon, yaar.
Yeah.
I mean, they can invest in mutual funds. So, this is
But
real.
हिचकते हैं ना.
बहुत हिचकते हैं, and sometimes it's very convenient to outsource. अच्छा पापा कर देंगे, भाई कर देगा. But the reality is, this is
खुद
not
करो.
that difficult. There are a lot of resources these days, and you don't need to learn that much. Also, आजकल फाइनेंशियल एडवाइजर्स, म्यूचुअल फंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स, इतने रिसोर्सेज आ गए हैं कि आप हेल्प भी ले सकते हो. तो आपको ये क्यों स्ट्रेस है कि सब आप अपने शोल्डर्स पे लेके करोगे? सो देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ हेल्प आल्सो दीस डेज.
Yes, absolutely. So, I want to wind up this conversation, but आप बहुत अच्छी शायरी करती हैं, तो मुझे लगता है कि हमारी इस थीम पर कि what youngsters and the new earners can learn, आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे? अगर मैं कहूँ एक अच्छी सी शायरी सुना दीजिए राधिका, इसको क्लोज करते हैं उसके साथ.
Okay, you put me on the spot. I'll give you the context to this शायरी कि हम for young people थोड़ा पेशेंस कम होता है, राइट? एंड इक्विटी ऊपर नीचे होता रहता है. सो यू ऑफन आर लाइक, मार्केट ऊपर चला गया, नीचे चला गया, मैं क्या करूँ? एंड देन यू डिसाइड टू क्विट एंड ऑल. सो दिस इज अ शायरी that talks about life, but is very true of the equity market, and I'll translate some of it also. But it says कि सफ़र में धूप तो होगी, सफ़र में धूप तो होगी, जो चल सको तो चलो. So the way, the path forward will be sunny. So you have to know that and move forward. So the equity investing journey will be rocky. सफ़र में धूप तो होगी, जो चल सको तो चलो. सभी हैं भीड़ में, तुम भी चल सको तो चलो. एंड एवरीबडी इज़ पार्ट ऑफ दिस जर्नी. तो ये जो वॉलेटिलिटी है, जो ऊपर नीचे, ये सबके साथ होगा. अब किसी के वास्ते यहाँ राहें नहीं बदलती, अब किसी के वास्ते बाजार तो नहीं बदलता. तुम अपने आप को बदल सको तो चलो. सो यू हैव टू माइंड योर ओन बिहेवियर एंड देन गो फॉरवर्ड. सो सफ़र में धूप तो होगी, जो चल सको तो चलो, सभी हैं भीड़ में, तुम निकल सको तो चलो, किसी के वास्ते यहाँ राहें नहीं बदल सकती, तुम खुद को बदल सको तो चलो।
वाह क्या बात है। तो इसी लाइन के साथ थैंक यू सो मच राधिका फॉर योर टाइम। चलते रहना इज़ मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट, और चलने के लिए शुरुआत करनी होगी, तो निवेश की शुरुआत कीजिए। पहली नौकरी, पहली सैलरी से ही इसकी शुरुआत कर जैसे करेंगे तो उतने ही फ़ायदे में रहेंगे, और यही लर्न विद आरजी का आज का मंत्र भी है। थैंक यू फॉर वॉचिंग अस।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme related documents carefully.